In fact, Bawumia is interesting. Before they even officially announced that he lost, he just said himself on his own, like, okay, I've lost this election because
Yeah.
our own internal voting says that I've lost.
Oh, okay.
I am an African.
Ghana is got a bit of reputation for being a stable democracy ever since John Jerry Rawlings in the 1990s restored democracy. It was used to have lots of coups um, since after Kwame Nkrumah. It used to have lots of coups after Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, but in the 1990s onwards, it has been sort of like a stable beacon of democracy in West Africa, especially now with all the coups that are happening
Hmm.
uh,
All over.
across. So Ghana was an interesting election because you had John. It was basically between two people, between John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana, and Mahamadou Bawumia, who was the um, vice president. Can you just double check that for me?
What you say?
Can you just double check? Uh, Wait, hold on. Yes, he's vice president of Ghana. Um, I thought he was finance minister.
Okay.
Vice president of Ghana. So there's the NDC and the NPP. John Mahama was for the NDC, and the ruling party put Mahamadou Bawumia. The current president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has served two 4-year terms. Their terms are 4 years, two 4-year terms, and he is done. So he put, his party selected Mahamadou Bawumia, who was the vice president, right, to stand to extend the party's um, ruling for another 4 more years. But John Mahama, who was president before in 2012 to 2017, stood in this election and won.
Hmm.
So basically, it's a big comeback for John Mahama after 8 years.
Yeah.
Uh, John Mahama became president when one president died, but he died in the same year as an election. So just a few months later, he stood for election and he won in 2012. And then in 2016, he lost to Nana Akufo-Addo.
Mm-hmm.
So
So it's the
Nana,
comeback.
yeah,
Okay.
became 8 years.
Do you think that people were also maybe looked at the time he ruled and then looked at like Nana Akufo-Addo and said, okay,
Yeah, I think
things
that's
are.
it was one of those things because Ghana was going through a terrible like this past 2 years.
Mhm.
Ghana was going through a really, really terrible inflation situation with their
Mhm.
currency steady. And then they're also going through Galamsey. Galamsey was basically a debacle concerning minerals, gold
Mhm.
panning,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how it's affecting water and environmental um,
Effects.
situations for
Yeah.
South America. So water sources were being contaminated because I think allocations for mining and gold panning were just reckless,
Yeah.
going in.
'Cause artisanal mining is quite a big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that caused a huge situation, and there were lots of protests over this. So John Mahama came on and positioned himself as, you know, I think he said that's about the economy is stupid. He stole a line from Bill Clinton, basically.
Mhm.
Where he just campaigned ruthlessly on the economy because that's what was affecting everyone. And he said he wanted to bring Ghana into a 24-hour economy. Uh,
Sounds very familiar.
Very familiar because the former Zambian president had said something like that. No, most people don't really know. They kind of crumbles when you ask them to explain what they mean. Because
Yeah.
John was just saying, oh, there'll be construction jobs and so on. Haven't really quite got exactly what that would look like. When I
But
think of
isn't
24
that
hour
isn't that the what can I say? Like the African leaders like they're like because again, like I can't really hate on it because I think I've seen leaders who have tried to be the opposite of that, where they campaign on actually talking about real issues, that are affecting the economy, and people don't resonate with that. What tends to
Yeah.
happen is they
Yeah.
sort of have to flip their message to a more digestible, One,
Not just
oh, we're
people
gonna
bashing.
bring this, we're gonna bring that, we're gonna bring this. Caused all these
Yeah.
problems and that sort of a thing. But then when you stop and ask, you're like, how are you going to, do? You can't even ask that because it's like, oh, you're a hater or something. So
Yeah. You see,
yeah,
the thing is, politicians are the products of their people, right?
right,
I mean,
right,
you can
right.
say, you can say, why is this politician not got a plan? You can't even explain this. But the truth is, the majority, what he's entertaining those to
Yeah,
who, like, he's just being appealing to
yeah,
his customers, essentially.
yeah,
And people don't want to listen or read a manifesto. If you are serving those people, then you make your manifesto as small as possible.
yeah,
You figure out the plans later once you
yeah,
actually win. Because if your manifesto is 20 pages long,
yeah.
you can spend more time on your
A
manifesto than on the actual.
thesis.
Yeah. But an
Yeah.
an interesting thing in this election is John Mahama's vice president is a woman, Jane Nana Okuko Agyemang. She's
Mm.
the first female vice president of Ghana. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. So Mahama won with 56.55%, 6.3 million votes. Um, and then Mahamadou Bawumia lost with 41.61% of the vote. He got
Mhm.
4.6 million votes. In fact, Bawumia is interesting. Before they even officially announced that he lost, he just said himself on his own, like, okay, I've lost this election because
Yeah.
our own internal voting says that I've lost.
Oh, okay.
Normally, most candidates would wait till
Yeah,
like the
fight it tooth
yeah,
and nail.
and
Yeah.
especially if you're the second, the second runner up,
Mm.
you'd wait for every single tally. But for him, he was just like, okay, the way it looks is not, yeah, this is the end
It's not
of,
looking good.
yeah, yeah.
Seems
But
like
yeah,
yeah.
that is Ghana's election for you. So
Mhm.
Mahama is back. So yeah, I guess big highlights here. You have Ghana as his first female president. Namibia has
Mhm.
Ghana as his first female vice president, and its former president is back.